Hi guys, it's me and welcome back to another video. In this video, I am going to be giving you my opinion and I guess a review of two books that I highly suggest that you read if you are starting out as a Wiccan. However, just because the titles say Wicca and the fact that I am saying that if you are, beginning to the religion and would like to learn more about Wicca itself, I also suggest that if you are a witch that does not belong to any specific path, highly suggest that you also read these because they give you a sort of foundation that are overall just really good for every witch in general to have. However, if you are a Wiccan, you will benefit even more. Now, these two books are Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner by Scott Cunningham, and Living Wicca. So my understanding is that this book came first and then after came this one, or at least this one is a continuation of this one. That being said, I read this like a long time ago, so I do not remember everything in detail. I read this like a month ago, maybe like two, I don't remember, but like I remembered that this book, I loved it just as much as this one, but I think actually thinking about it now, I love this one even more. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But anyways, this book is amazing. Like, if you, first of all, Scott Cunningham, he is a very well-known author. And as a matter of fact, if you are looking into reading books overall that are about Wicca, I highly suggest that you get, at least if you're not gonna get this one, I highly suggest that you get this one because it pretty much gives you like in my opinion, a solid foundation in order to start your practice or learn more about the religion itself. In terms of what you'll be learning, in terms of the contents, it's divided in 3 sections. So the first one is the theory, then it goes into the practice, and then it goes into the Standing Stones Book of Shadows, which is, as it says, a form of a Book of Shadows. So the theory, the first section, it talks about Wicca and shamanism, how they have similarities, their differences and such. Then it goes on to deities, magic, tools, music, dance, and gestures, ritual and preparation for rituals, and so on. I'll put a picture here so that you guys know, the content, the table of contents. And overall, I just really love this book. It does not have a lot of illustrations, I'm not gonna lie. So if you are someone like me who really like illustrations because it is what engages me into reading, then you will not get that in this book. Yes, there are a few, like for example, there's this, but I mean, for the most part, it's something. But like, there's also a suggested altar layout. It's really, decent, actually, it's really good. I don't know why I said decent. It's really good if you're just starting out. You can even copy this one and have it as an altar diagram in order to, know exactly like where to put your things. But when you're starting out, I think this layout looks really good. I'm looking for, oh my gosh, why can't I find any? This is so annoying again. Okay, here. So you see, there are like a few, like very little, but I mean overall they're really good. It goes on, as you could see, it talks about the tools, like for example the crystal ball, which is called the crystal sphere, the cup, the magic knife, also known as the athame, and the bowline, I think it's bowline. The cauldron, I think there's also the wand, the censer, and stuff like that. It also gives you a chapter that's titled, or a sub chapter, I don't know, that's titled Gestures, and I love this because it really gives you like a something that you can do in order to pretty much summon or call in the elements. It talks about the Sabbats. It gives you exercises in the practice section that you can of course practice in order to pretty much, you know, enhance your visualization, your energy work, and so on. Then when we go into, I believe, the third section, which is titled the Standing Stone Book of Shadows, if I'm not mistaken, you have a few rituals that you can do. And in those rituals, you have a self dedication ritual, which you can choose to do so if you wish to do so. There's also, you know, how to cast a circle. All of the steps that are highly recommended will be for actually casting it. It also goes into detail about, you know, the runes, which I can't seem to find right now. Symbols, oh, here they are. Okay, so here are the symbols and signs. It has only a few, which, I mean, to me it's a-okay. It also goes into, you know, the runes and their meanings and such. It is just overall like a book that is packed with a lot of information. It also has, you know, a few spells. Like, for example, there's a protection chant, a mirror spell of protection for the home. It also has a spell to break the powers of a spell, and a few more. It also includes some recipes, so in case you want to like literally create food, you can do that. It also contains for oils. It also has an herbal Book of Shadows, I think it's called. I can't seem to find it right now. But you know, this book, it has like a lot of information, and do not get me even started on the glossary. I love the glossary because it literally, like, just in case that you do not know what a specific word means, you can just, you know, go here and read about it in a very straight to the point, very simple way of understanding things. And overall, like, this book is just very informative. Like, I really loved it. Like, if you were to ask me right now, what would be the book that I would highly suggest the, you know, beginning Wiccan or someone who simply just is curious about the religion, I would highly suggest this book. Now, after reading this book, and maybe preferably, in my opinion, reading a few more books, I would highly suggest that you read this one. Now, the reason why I suggest this one, preferably after reading a few more, after you have like the basics and you know that, like, you know what, I think Wicca is the religion for me and I would like to explore it more, and so on, this is when this book comes in handy. The reason why is because this book focuses more on creating your own tradition, and you know, it would be really complicated, in my opinion, to create a tradition of your own if you only read, you know, this book. Like, you know, this is just like, again, the foundation. This is just like the basics of the basics. It's just really good to have, you know, as a first book, but of course you're gonna have to read more and more and more. But yeah, this book is just really good. It goes into a lot more detail when it comes to the description, I suppose you could say, of the god and the goddess. Like, for example, I am looking for it right now and I can't find it. I do not know why. Okay, here it is. So, you know, in terms of the goddess, there's this part that I truly love. It gives you like a few bullet points of the different ways that you can view the goddess and the god, you know, because the goddess, we tend to see her as the goddess of fertility, and the god mainly as the god of the hunt. But like, there's also many different ways that you can recognize the god and the goddess, you know, as being. This book you know, goes in depth about how to create your own path, how to raise energy in a circle, how to work with energy, actually, I believe. Am I correct? I don't remember quite well. I believe so. It has I love these. Okay, so there are prayers and rites of thanks and offerings, and I literally just, I love this. Like, it really does teach you, like, as the title states, how to live a proper Wiccan lifestyle, or, you know, I guess the suggested Wiccan lifestyle. How to apply the Wiccan read, you know, which is essentially any harm none, do what you will, and how to apply that to your life. Trust me when I tell you, when I read this, I fell in love. And it's actually been years since I got this book, and I had not read it up until recently, and I feel like I wasted so much time. But then again, I read it, so that's good. It talks about designing rituals for your own tradition, you know, the Sabbats, Esbats, and so much more. It also goes into like the rules that you would choose to create, or more so apply to your own tradition, whether it be something that would be coven based or just simply solitary based. You know, it includes stuff such as, you know, the worship, how would you do that, and so on. Who do you worship? How do you view the god and the goddess? It also touches upon, you know, bloodshed. Like obviously, in the most simplest of terms, there is no bloodshed in the religion. You know, how to avoid harm, and so on and so forth. You know, and then it gives you like sample law. And also, when you are reading the books, highly suggest you start working on your book of shadows, or whatever you may want to call it, your own Bible, because it is going to add, you know, information that eventually you are going to, you know, look back into and notice your growth. Who knows, maybe even you may even develop that specific belief that you have right now, and like keep it up until you are, let's say, I don't know, an old person, a wise old person. Anyways, you know, it just, like, I just love this book. It really gives you like a very formal way of how to create your own tradition, how to apply it, how to practice it. It also I think it also gives you like recipes, but I'm not entirely sure. And now that I remember, I skipped an important part, which is the table of contents. So in terms of the table of contents, this book is divided in 3 parts as well. The first one is learning, the second one is practice, and then the third one is your own tradition, as you can see here. And again, this book is really good. It talks about the secrecy of, you know, the craft. Should you you know, do witchcraft or practice or whatever when you are sick, which is a really good question that I feel like a lot of Wiccans or witches in general tend to ask. Like, should I perform a spell or a ritual or anything in particular that has to do with that while I am sick, or something of that sort? And this book, I think, in my opinion, when I was reading it, it did a really good job at answering it. You know, it touches upon magical names, self-initiation, the Wiccan mysteries, and essentially the book, from what I remember, it basically said that the mysteries, we are like practically looking for a book or, you know, text or something that says, okay, so these are the mysteries, when in reality I feel like the mysteries, from what I remember, and from what I think, the mysteries themselves are something that you have to experience and live, you know, in order to actually know the mysteries of, you know, the god, the goddess, and overall, you know, your inclusion with them. And yeah, effective prayers, daily prayers, you know, deity concepts, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier, the one that I showed you about the god and the goddess, Wiccan symbols, and yeah, I don't think there is recipes here, but yeah, in terms of the symbols, like when I tell you, I saw this because, trust me, I love symbols, and including them in my own practice. And so when I noticed that this book had like a lot of symbols, like I just literally fell in love. And actually, I wanted to show you that this book, it looks like it's just giving you a bunch of random symbols, but like the way that I saw it is that it's pretty organized, and it's specifically you always, you know, it's kind of like just something that you notice as you're like analyzing the pages and the symbols and such. For example, you know, these are the alchemic symbols, you know, for the elements. These ones I have no idea. And then these ones, I also do have no idea. But you know, what I'm trying to say is that, like, you know, these are all like, you know, the alchemic symbols, and there are other symbols that have to do with those exact elements. And, you know, we have here the earth, then we have air, you know, like it's organized in a way that makes it understandable. And we have the sun, the moon, the earth. And by here, although, you know, it is the same symbol, the way that I understand it is that this is talking more so of the planet. Again, like this is, you know, the same symbol, but the way that I understand it, it's like it's talking more so about the planet itself rather than like soil, like the earth, you know what I mean? So yeah, and overall, like I just really recommend people to read this book. So mind you, I'm not sponsored at all, girl, I wish I was, but no, but like when I tell you I literally love these books, I really do. And overall, I find myself, actually, as a matter of fact, I am currently studying in order to pretty much have a more concrete understanding of the god and the goddess. Although I have and I understand more or less like who they are, like I have my own ways of, you know, understanding them and such. I would like to formalize my knowledge by actually writing it. And I actually find myself looking back on these two books, especially this one because of the section of the deity concepts, like quite often. Of course, I have more books, such as, for example, I think this book is called Wicca and Witchcraft for Dummies, something like that. I hate that title, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, it's part of like a series, so I guess I understand. And there's also the Spiral Dance, which, oh my gosh, I almost hit myself. Then there's this book that talks about you know, a bunch of things, but I only read, you know, the part of the god because I finished the goddess document, which is what I call my pages, but now I'm working on the god, and there's like a lot to cover, but I love it, you know. It's a lot, but like I work with it in my own time and such. But anyways, this book does like a really good job at like talking about the god. And so you know, I'm using like so many books, but like these two books as a basic understanding, they do like a wonderful job. And overall, like as I said earlier, I really suggest that if you are starting out in the craft or in general in Wicca, again, these two books, of course, there are way more. However, you know, in terms of my opinions and like my preferences when it came to like what I wish I had at the beginning, all the way, without a second of a doubt, explains them very well. It also has like a section that pretty much has to do with like actually putting your own knowledge that you acquired to practice. They have rituals, they have stuff to do, practices, which is important when it comes to learning. Like, yes, you know, learning them is really good, but also you get more out of putting what you learned into practice. So yeah, like and you know what, like these books aren't even that like they're not that heavy to read. Like it's not as intimidating. So for example, I would most definitely do not recommend for anybody who is just starting out to buy Solitary Witch by Silver Raven Wolf. It is a good book. I'm not gonna lie, it is a good book because it is what it is. But this is a hefty book. This is a pretty intimidating book. You know what I mean? It's a pretty intimidating book. Like, it has a lot of information. I have not read the actual book. However, I did listen to the audiobook, and I actually still am. But you know, it's just too heavy. It's too big, and you would assume that, oh my gosh, just because, you know, you're a witch or a Wiccan, you would much rather have a book that is smaller. But like, you know, like they're intimidating. I do not suggest people to read books that are like this. However, if you have, I believe, what is called reading fluency, I think that's what it's called. And then I mean, I guess it's okay, but like I don't like, to me preferably I would just like to start, you know, with the basics. It's a small book. I think that if you're getting them for the price that it says in the back, so for as US dollars, it would be $14.99 and $14.95. I think the price vary if you include tax or whatever. But anyways, you know, I think for the price, they're really good and it's really good knowledge. So yes, I really do not recommend books this big or as big because they're just extremely, extremely intimidating. And when something is intimidating, at first, you know, it's kind of cool because you feel quirky and like you don't know what you're doing and like you're new to everything and you feel like you're like literally like so powerful and like you may just, you know, swing your arm and something magical is gonna happen. First of all, realize that that is literally TV. I'm not denying the probability of it being possible, because it could. I mean, I don't know. I am 100% sure that there are 1,000 things that do exist, but we aren't aware. But that's a whole other conversation. The point being, to end the video and not make it too long, these books, amazing. Highly suggest you get them. And yeah, I'm not sure if this book recommendation / sort of review did any justice to the actual effectivity. Is that even a real word? The goodness of the books? I don't, but yeah, like overall, trust when I tell you, you will learn a lot if you are just starting out. And even if you are not a beginner, they are still really good books to read because it does not hurt anyone to literally go back to the basics to pretty much refresh your mind and also get a new perspective on certain things. Because even though we all practice the same religion, not everybody within the same religion does things the same way. And I believe the books do a really good job, you know, in letting the person who's reading it know that. And I don't know, yeah, I'm not gonna be too redundant and like repeat the same thing over and over and over as I feel that I have done. However, my opinion and review still stands. Highly suggest you get it. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys later. However, do let me know if you guys have had the book, and if you have, how did you like it? What is your opinion? What do you think could have made the book better? What do you think the book could have improved upon? And so much more. So yeah, I shall see you guys later. Made me feel so much better.